Hey Frag fam, Corbin here from Northwest Scent. You guys really enjoyed the video I did about a week ago on 5 recently discontinued fragrances you should purchase now. So if you haven't seen that video, I will link it somewhere at the top of the screen. But as for today, we're going to be covering part 2, which is another 5 recently discontinued fragrances you guys should consider purchasing. So if that sounds interesting, I would stay tuned. But first, let's roll that intro. So, like I said, 5 recently discontinued fragrances. I've checked with all of these, and as of current, they're still going for a pretty good price. All of them should be at retail or significantly lower. But if you're watching this in the future, I'm sure the prices have increased and that's not going to be the case anymore. So if you're just watching this video when I release it, definitely look into these if any of them interest you. But starting the list off at number 5 is going to be Yves Saint Laurent's Loam Ultime. And I actually just recently talked about this in a video from a few days ago. It was called 5 Awesome Fragrance Alternatives. If you haven't watched that one, I would definitely check it out in the link above. But basically, there is one other fragrance out there that smells really close to this one. So if you want to get the cheaper option, I would recommend watching that video and getting the alternative. But if you're a collector and maybe you just want to get the original with that unique rose note, I would definitely check this one out. But as I said, it has rose in it. It also has ginger from the original Loam, and then some bergamot to make it a little fresher. And that rose really does separate this fragrance and make it quite unique. It's not feminine at all. This is definitely a masculine scent. The rose is very nuanced and light. There's nothing too heavy about it. Performance on this one's pretty good as well. I get about 8 hours, which is a lot better than Loam, the original, and actually even better than I get with LatinAutor Loam. So performance on this one's great. Scent is great on this one. Quality is amazing. And the price is still very reasonable. So not a lot I can knock this one about. So if that sounds interesting to you guys, again, the number 5 spot was Yves Saint Laurent's Loam Ultime. The fragrance at the number 4 spot is one that has actually been discontinued for maybe a year or two, I want to say. It's been a little while, but the reason it's in this video is because I still see it being posted for sale on the Facebook fragrance groups just about every week, as well as I've actually found these at my local Ultas and some local perfume shops. So it's definitely out there. There's a bunch of them still available, and they're still going for a pretty good price. And the fragrance we're talking about is Givenchy Play Intense. And yes, it's supposed to look like a TV remote. So the bottle's a little tacky, but the scent is good, and we're about to talk about that. So what do I get from this one? Well, it has mandarin orange, bergamot, coffee, patchouli, and tonka bean. So those are the main notes I get from this. And as it sounds, it is quite sweet and playful, and that might be part of the reason why it's called Play. Now, I do have the dry down on my hand, and this one actually, as a comparison, if you own or have tried Salvatore Ferragamo Uomo Signature, they share a lot of the same notes, and they do smell quite similar. However, I actually do prefer this one, even though it does cost more money. You know, Salvatore Ferragamo, that one's a really good price. I think they sell for about $35, $40 on the discounters as well as the Facebook fragrance groups. This one you can find for about 80-ish, 90, somewhere around there still. But I just think for the increased quality and the better smell you get with this one, it's a better buy overall. So if you like that fragrance but haven't tried this one, I would definitely recommend checking this one out before it gets much harder to find and a lot more expensive. So again, that was Givenchy Play Intense. The fragrance at the number 3 spot is one that's also been discontinued for about a year, I want to say. This one is a fresher version of the original, and the original is a winter banger that everybody seems to own and talk about. This one being fresher, it's the most wearable version of all the fragrances in its line, in my opinion, and it's the most underrated as well. And I am referring to Viktor & Rolf's Spice Bomb Fresh. Now it also goes by Spice Bomb Eau Fraiche. I think that is overseas, but here in North America, it just goes by Spice Bomb Fresh. So this one, if you're familiar with the original, or even Extreme for that matter, you'll recognize the DNA here immediately. What they've done with this one is they've taken the grapefruit from the original and they've amped that up quite a bit. So you get a pretty prominent citric note right off the top that's a little bit bitter. And then they've also added sea salt, which makes it a little bit salty aquatic. But it's nothing crazy. This is definitely not a cooling, refreshing scent. The spiciness is still very present, and because of that, I actually think it's a year-round scent. Winter, this is definitely going to work because it still is quite spicy. It'll definitely work in the summer still. You'll just have to control your sprays a little bit, and then the transition seasons for this one are perfect. There's really no time that this one cannot be worn. I think it could be done casually, formally. This is quite a versatile scent. It should still be available on some discounters. I've seen it pop up before. If I do find any, like I said, I will link it. But if not, definitely check the Facebook fragrance groups. I see people selling these multiple times a week for a really good price. Definitely less than retail still. But pretty soon this one's going to disappear and then the prices are going to increase. If you haven't tried this one and you like the original, I definitely think this is worthy to add to the collection just because it is different enough and it is more versatile that you just can't go wrong with this one. So again, get it while you can. And that was Spice Bomb Fresh. The fragrance in the number 2 spot on this list is a flanker of a flanker. The original fragrance in this line is the most sold and most popular men's fragrance of all time. And I am referring to Acqua di Gio Absolute Instinct in that cool brown bottle. And what I like about this one is it has a carved wooden cap. Now, this one is a big departure from the original Absolute. That one is known for basically being an Invictus ripoff. You know, Giorgio Armani saw Invictus and like, oh, I want in on that. But this one is quite different. They honestly should have just made this its own flanker instead of a flanker of Absolute. And this one's honestly quite different from even the original Acqua di Gio. This one is aquatic like the original, but that's about the only similarity. As far as notes, this one does have C notes, which the original has. This one also has citruses, which the original had. But then this one has amberwood and then seaweed. And that seaweed is really what differentiates this one. This one's very sharp, green, and salty. And then that amberwood rides underneath and just kind of makes it a lot more modern. I think this thing is super wearable. Not a great winter scent, but for spring, summer, and early fall, I think this one's awesome. I saw nobody talk about this until it got discontinued, and I don't know why. I think it's an amazing fragrance. There's not a ton out there that smells like this. Sure, woody aquatic, you know, that's a pretty common genre, but the actual scent quality on this one is quite different, and the performance I get on this is good as well. Even though it is fresh, it just has this slight dark woodiness to it that just makes it last a little bit longer. I get about 8 hours with this one, so not bad at all for the genre of fragrance that it's in. And I just think this one's worth picking up sooner rather than later. As soon as this crosses into the $100 mark, I wouldn't say it's worth it anymore, but you can still definitely find this for $60, $70, $80, somewhere in there. And for that price, I think it's a really good buy. It only does come in this 75 milliliter size bottle, but it's great juice, and I think for those prices, it's a good buy. So if you're interested in checking this one out, again, it is called Acqua di Gio Absolute Instinct. The fragrance at the number 1 spot in this list has been discontinued for about 8 months or maybe a year, I want to say. However, it is still really affordable. The prices haven't seemed to have changed or increased since it did get discontinued, and because of that, that's why I'm putting it here at the number 1 spot. If you watch Jeremy Fragrance, which I'm sure you guys have or do, he used to talk about this one a ton, and he coined it the strength of the ocean. And the fragrance I'm referring to is Bulgari Aqua Amara. Now, this one is super popular. I'm sure everybody watching this has heard of this, so there's really not a lot I can say about it that hasn't already been said. But just really quickly, the notes, it has mandarin orange, C notes, and then neroli. And those are all super prominent. This one is really aquatic, a little bit sea salty, has that white floral nuance, but it's a very fresh floral. And then it has that mandarin orange. You can definitely pick that out. This one's just perfect for the summer. The amazing thing about it is it performs well as well. I get up to 10 hours wearing this thing. So as far as summer performers, this one's at the top for sure. And at that price point, you know, $30, $40, there's really nothing else out there that can beat that for what you're getting. So if that sounds interesting to you guys and you haven't gotten this one yet, I would at least check it out and get a sample if you can, because the prices are definitely going to increase here soon just because of how popular this one is. So at the number 1 spot, again, that was Bulgari Aqua Amara. Well, there it is. 5 recently discontinued fragrances you guys should consider purchasing now. Just like the first video I did, These can all still be found for a pretty good price, and they all have my stamp of approval. I think all of them are worthy cents to have in your collection, and as of this video, I think they are still worth purchasing at the prices they're going for. If you guys enjoyed this video and this topic, I would really appreciate leaving a like and commenting down below, just saying maybe you want to see a part 3 to this, which I could definitely do. And while you're down there, if you guys subscribed and hit the bell notification, that would mean a lot to me as well, just so you stay up to date on new videos when they get released. And then with that, I hope you guys have a good one, stay healthy, stay wealthy, and smell great.